Hello, everybody. Just doing another session with the lovely Kayleen. And this time it's why do we do the things that we do? What attracts us? What is the reason for all of our lives going in a forward direction? And as I was thinking about it, it actually came about because one of my circle members asked me the question of why don't I just do a circle that's purely trance work and readings? And I said, thank you very much for the suggestion, and I'll think about it because I never like to, when a suggestion is put towards me, I don't like to, I like to think about it before I answer. So as I was building up, I was doing a talk at Mornington Spiritualist Church. And as I was meditating, as I always do beforehand, it wasn't the talk that I thought I was doing. The question came very strongly back to me. And I thought, okay, let's write down some points just as I was sitting there, some questions that I can answer, and then working with the energy. I must admit that before I actually started the writing, I have a promise to myself that I'm going to keep exercising with ease and grace. That comes up every time when I'm doing a Reiki course. We have a thing called an Tatsoho, and it's making an affirmation that you wish to keep to. And one of mine is keeping fit. So can I exercise with ease and grace is an important one for me. And I've been doing the walk a mile on YouTube, which is awesome because it takes 17 minutes and I feel very righteous when I've done it. So that's what I did as well. And then I just sat down at the computer as I do and just opened up to the question that was there. Why do we do what we do? What prompts us? And for some reason, I was inspired to take a card. And the cards I chose were the lovely Sophia Chan. Oh, Sofan Chan, her name is. She does the most beautiful cards. If I had them beside me, I'd show you the whole pack, but they've disappeared. So I'll just show you the card that I was using. They're beautifully illustrated, just amazing, amazing. And then on the other side, she's got her lovely words. And the card was Dharma. And Dharma can only be learnt by direct experience. It educates the heart and liberates the mind. And that was from Sofan herself. So Dharma or divine wisdom is a heart and mind system of learning. With your heart open, you can be aware of the universal truths amidst your struggles and suffering. It gives you the power to turn experience around, knowing that there is a purpose to your life that is gently unfolding. And that gave me the thoughts of how did I get on this journey and what does it look like now? And what is its purpose? What is my growing Dharma with it? So I began this particular journey in my 30s. I was taken to the Chelsea Spiritualist Centre, which no longer exists, unfortunately. But it was a beautiful introduction to spirituality. I was very grateful to be taken there, and I became a firm goer of being in the audience, of being in the congregation of a spiritualist centre, and it was lovely. And some of the things that they talked about really sort of just hit to my heart. So when they decided to run a workshop, which was at the Frankston Library, it was run by Joan Coates, and she shared at that meeting about her journey with mediumship and what it means, and everything to do with how we can go about becoming a medium. So I went along with no intentions of ever thinking that I would go anywhere near being a medium. But during her talking, I recognized that, yes, I had had early experiences of mediumship, things that I couldn't explain as a child. and also the bit of the struggles and suffering that I had just recently been through. And I found during that workshop that she explained exactly what was happening to me. I thought she was just talking to me. There must have been about 30 or 40 people there, but she was just talking to me about the experiences of being under psychic attack, and also how energy works, how we have to protect our core, and we have to protect the surrounding of our core, which is, to me, is our physical body with our aura around it. And we can let people sort of grab bits of us, can't we, through life? And she taught us how to strengthen our core, which was so amazing. And it made me realize that, yes, I did need to sit in a circle. I did need to study, just so that it kept me safe and that I knew what I was doing as well. I was a young mum then with 4 children, a single mum as well. So I had no idea how I was going to go about this. So I just simply decided to join the circle of Kath and Rob Saunders, who became my mentors. And so I thought, okay, well, this is good. And my thought was, well, if I have this gift, which I'm being told that I have, how can I work with it? What can I do with it? And my final thought was, well, if it can be of service to people, then it's really my duty to follow this pathway. And so I did. And for 7 years, I was very happy to just sit in circle with Kath and Rob. And they started taking me along to the spiritualist centers, and I would give readings along with them. And then the spiritualist centers started inviting me along on my own as well. And so I was thinking, okay, well, this is my Dharma. I'm just following through with this. I don't really know. I hadn't really meant to be on this pathway, but here I am. So from there, it was a question of, after the 7 years, Kath and Rob decided to close the circle down and were encouraging me to start my own circle. And even before that, they were encouraging me to do my own readings and things like that. So it became clear, because every doorway I tried to open up, and I was at that time, I wouldn't stand a chance now, but at that time I was a very highly gifted and professional administrator. But I couldn't find a job. No jobs anywhere. And so I found that my only avenue was actually going along my spiritual work. And amazingly enough, the spirit must have thought this is a good idea too, because that's the line that I followed and became more and more successful with this. And I was thinking, well, this is lovely. And then I added Reiki into the mix, which has been a delight. It came about because I had a healing that I was just amazed at the miracle of the healing. So I then started to pursue Reiki as well, which was truly amazing. So I had these gifts, mediumship and Reiki, and I thought, well, this is beautiful. I really love my work. It's my heart work. I'd started my own circle, which at that time was just 1 circle, and now it's 3 to 4 circles, so to 5 circles. So it really was a growing thing. And I thought, well, this is my Dharma. I'm happy with this. But then Spirit started to give me another avenue, another urge, if you like, because that's the only way I can really describe it. I was always hearing from mediums that they wanted to do more of their heart work. I was always hearing from the churches that they wanted more people to walk through their doors. And also, at this time, I also had students that were coming up to, they'd studied and studied and studied, and it was time for them to step onto the platform of being a professional with their studies, both in Reiki and in mediumship. I went away on a retreat with 4 lovely ladies. We had a wonderful time. And again, this question of how can we do this? And I just happened to mention that I'd thought of having a day when people could get together and practice their skills. And also at the same time, be encouraging to people to find their pathway into the spiritualist churches. And another thing, to bring on people to be at their professional level, to work on a day. And they thought this was a wonderful idea. They thought that this is a great idea. And it really encouraged me to go, okay, well, let's begin. Let's begin. And they all sort of came together and said, yes, let's begin. So at our first meeting of like a committee meeting, these lovely ladies started to talk. And from my admin background, what they were volunteering to do was not nearly enough that we needed to get this off the ground. So I had in my thoughts, well, if this is going to happen, if this is going to be something, I have to have my friend Maureen on board. And thank goodness she said yes. And so we began. And yes, these beautiful ladies, they stayed on board for a while, and then, as with everything, they went on their own journeys. But Maureen and I stuck to the Lightworkers way, and we created spaces which were quite incredible, really. And people still talk to me today, because we did these for these beautiful psychic festivals for 15 years. But then, of course, COVID came along. I became really ill with COVID, and so we had to let it all go. And that was fine. And we didn't feel that it was responsible for us to really come back in until everything was cleared away from the COVID, because we used to have like at least a couple of hundred people, the possibility of coming along to our day, and we just didn't feel responsible to do that. So for me, the Dharma has been to just follow along with things, and when it becomes apparent that we need to act, that's what we do. We act. And it's quite a brave thing to do. It's quite a courageous thing to do, because you don't know where it's going to lead you. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. We certainly didn't. But all we knew at that time was, yes, there was the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in the city, which was terribly expensive and like a mass of people. Whereas we wanted to be more of service to our local community. And there wasn't anything like that around at that time. Now we've got beautiful events that go on all over Victoria, but we were only wanted ever to be locally based, and so we did. We landed up in Mount Eliza actually in the end, and spent several years there after trying different venues. So to me, again, coming back to Dharma, it is something that, if we are true to ourselves, if we are doing our heart work, then it is something that we will want to do. And maybe it does need that sort of push from outside people to say, yes, we want to be part of this, and then we follow through. So the other important thing along the way was I always choose, when I do my cards, the top and the bottom card, because I feel that gives me a good balance of energy. So this next card, which is again beautifully illustrated by Sophan Chan, is equanimity. And equanimity from the Dalai Lama is, I find hope in the darkest of days and focus in the brightest. I do not judge the universe. The Dalai Lama. Fantastic. Equanimity embodies forging ahead with an unshakable courage to experience all circumstances that come your way, and without judging them as good or bad, right or wrong, gain or loss, so that you will not be disturbed by your own negative emotions. Nothing can then spin you out of your calm center. So for anybody that knows me, they will know that I really like equanimity. I think everybody, we've just got such life within us, haven't we? And again, if we're following what's true to us, we'll know what we're meant to be doing. And that doesn't have to always be the majestic things. It can be the beautiful home-filled joy that we have of looking after our families, of doing a job that we know we do well, and we love the job. So it is a question of looking at that. And the other thing that really bothers me is hierarchies. I don't like hierarchies. Somebody has to take responsibility. Yes, I understand that. But anybody that starts working along, making rules and regulations that have to be strictly kept, or they feel that they're on a bit of an ego trip to so that they can lord over other people, it's just like, no, let me out of here. I do not like this at all. So for me, it was very important to be fair to everybody, and thankfully Maureen as well agreed with this, that we fairly paid all our people that were working with us. We welcomed in all the people that walked through our doors, were given a huge welcoming. And we made sure that the day was full of lovely things that they could take away with them at the end of the day. We had lots of stall holders. We had beautiful lectures going throughout the day. We had, I think at one time we had over 20 mediums that were working with us, and we had a free cafe. And the free cafe was always part of our journey of giving back generously to people. And we also sent them home with a magazine as well, which was awesome. Maureen and I had a great deal of fun working up with the magazine and making sure that everybody had a copy. So again, is this enough sitting in church? Is this enough sitting in circle? Is this enough learning Reiki? Is this enough starting a festival? So all along the way, and also starting circles and starting my teachings with Reiki. And all along the way, I would always ask, is this enough? Is this what I'm meant to be doing? And it always came back with a surety of, yes, it is. And then along the way, just like a little while ago, a beautiful young lady called Liana joined the circle, and she was asking about the Light Workers Way. So I was telling her about our beautiful days and satsang days that we used to run. And she got very enthusiastic about, well, why can't we do this now? And it was just like, oh, okay, let's do. But I knew that this time we couldn't really hold the energy for big assemblies like we used to, but we wanted a more intimate place to be working from. And so our new psychic events, which you can see right next to me, which is wonderful, the Lightworkers Way, the Psychic Experience, was born. And we're still finding our way, because some things, sometimes they're always precious and delightful days. But you always have to wait for the community to catch up with you. So we are working out what people are enjoying. And they seem to enjoy our psychic bingo, and they seem to enjoy having readings, because a longer reading is really lovely experience to have. So this is what we've been doing. We've just been following our Dharma with equanimity, with putting our best foot forward. And so I came back to my first question with my circle member. Why do I just not run one that is just about trance and readings? And to me, I've learned over the years that everything has to be in balance. We can't just focus on the psychic and trance work because that brings us our physical self, our human self, just out of balance. And what I've found with people, they either become overwhelmed and out of balance in that way, or they become egotistical, and that's no good for anybody either. So for me, for the circle energy, it must be that balance of self-development and spiritual development. And from that, we have the greatest results of what we want to, who we want to be in the world, but also what we're presenting from our gifts to the world as well. So to me, it has to have that balance. And when I look back at my life, it feels like we had an experience with one of the lovely younger members of the circle, and she'd never been to an afternoon like us, and most probably not many people would have gone to an afternoon like how we do run our afternoons, because who's heard of psychic bingo and and the way that we choose lucky dip readings? I mean, it's not your usual thing. But she came away from the afternoon, and we always ask our circle members, because they can give us the feedback from the day. How did we go? Did they enjoy? And this young lass opened up to how much it had helped her, how much it had helped heal from trauma of the past, just from the words that were said and being in the company that she was in. She felt safe. She felt that healing was taking place from her trauma. And Liana and I, we were just almost in tears. And this is why we do the work, and it doesn't matter how many people are there. We're there. We're all there. And if this one person had got so much from our afternoon, then my goodness, it was all worthwhile. And it's what we're meant to be doing, because it's such a beautiful and loving experience to have around us. So how do I think this fits in with the world? Well, I feel blessed that I'm doing this work, because I feel it is something that is very worthwhile in the world, and that's amazing. And as many people that support us as the Lightworkers Way, they're all such treasures, and we're all on this journey together. This is just my journey, but if I can encourage other people to take their journey and actually sort of really help them to know that this is their heart work, let's get together, let's see what we can do together. That's what it's about. So I just like to say to everybody out there, you do make a difference in whatever your heart work is, whatever you are creating, whatever your Dharma is. Follow your own pathway that you love, and you can work with honesty and integrity. And that's what life is all about. Just follow your own pathway. Do what you love. Have people around you that support you, that encourage you, because you always need, whatever you're doing, you need a team around you. And if it's just somebody that is saying, well done. I had a lovely experience on Sunday. Kayleen was in the audience, and just her smile and the way she was looking at me, that was enough for me to go, okay, this is going well. And it was just such a beautiful moment for me. So yes, we're all on our pathways. No two are the same. Let's just get on with things. And if you've got something in your thoughts and your heart that you want to try, just go ahead and try. That's the main thing. Okay, so thank you from the Lightworkers Way. We hope that you'll join us and subscribe to this channel, and share it with others as well. And come along to anything that we're involved in. You're always very, very welcome. And we'll have a lovely time together. So thank you for listening today.